Hello, everyone. My name is Phil, joined by my man Jakey here.
What's good, guys?
We would like to welcome you to the new and improved Shots on Target podcast, where we will be discussing all things football. And to kick us off today, we will be chatting and making our predictions on the upcoming FIFA World Cup in Qatar. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Do it. So, I have some questions here. So first off, who do you think will win the World Cup?
I believe Argentina will win the World Cup. I think, they've been on this massive win streak. They've not lost a game since 2019. And, I think they've just got such a well rounded squad at the moment. And, the writings, it's written in the stars for Messi to win this World Cup, it'll be his 1000th game, probably his last World Cup. And the form he's been in this season is nothing short of Messi standard. And I think this will just be his year. He can bow out as a World Cup winner.
Yeah, got to agree with you there. I think there's a very strong possibility Argentina could win the World Cup. I mean, they're the top two favourites for a reason. For me, I think it's Brazil, the other hot favourite. I think with their squad, it's just insane from top to bottom. You look at the goalkeepers, two best goalkeepers in the world. They've got a solid defence led by this aging but still amazing Thiago Silva. Their midfield is just full of talent. But then if you look at their strike force, other than their wingers are obviously insane, Vinny Jr., Neymar, um, they do have they do lack in the striker department, which is why I was surprised Firmino didn't get brought into the fold. But I still think, for me, Brazil are my hot favourites to win the World Cup.
I can say. I think the only thing with Brazil is that midfield is aging as well. Obviously you've taken Casemiro, who even with his experience, he's getting on. Um, Other than that, and obviously Paqueta, Fabinho's been in awful form. I'm not sure how he's been taken.
Yeah,
And I think Brazil's midfield options just leave a lot to. There's just not a lot there, other than the three mentioned, one of which not being on great form.
no, I get what you're saying, and I think Brazil. I mean, everyone will be looking to their star players, Vinny Jr.
Yeah,
name, to provide and score not all the goals, but you know what I mean.
a
But I,
large majority.
yeah, well, but for me, I still think Brazil will have enough to take it.
So if it's going to be Brazil, it'll be thanks to the likes of whoever starts in goal and the two wingers.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I think it will probably be Allison, and not much
Mm.
get past him.
I'll
So
say there's not a lot that really gets past our man between the sticks. In my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the world.
okay, so moving on, question number two: your outsider or underdog for the World Cup. Now, this will be a country that isn't in, like, say, the top four, top six.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to bring up the top six to be fair because I can't actually mind who they are. Top six.
I think it goes Brazil, Argentina, England, France, and then I think can't remember.
Italy are there, but then at the World Cup. Way. I think, to be fair, it's actually going to be between two. I think Uruguay. I think if they can get Darwin Nunes firing alongside whoever they partner him with, whether that be Suarez or whoever, and I'm going to go for last World Cup's finalists, Croatia.
Okay.
I think about whether they can continue what they did at the 2018 World Cup. You know, the squad's aged. You've got an aging Modric, but I think outside of that, you've got some really promising players, and I think they could do another what they did that year.
Yeah, they were gritty in the 2018 World Cup.
Mm.
They had that bit about them that just seemed to obviously not be beaten, but obviously France blew them away in the final.
Yeah.
But France were just a different outfit back then.
So these are teams that I think will have a standard chance of winning. I just think there'll be teams that more certainly get out the group and will be a thorn in the side of the big teams, of the likes of Spain or Brazil or Argentina or whoever they go on to play. I think it could
Yeah,
be a difficult tie for them.
absolutely. Well, you've just mentioned my underdog, and it might come as a surprise to some people because people don't actually see them as outsiders or underdogs, but just the way they've been in the last few years in terms of internationally. My underdog is actually going to be Spain for the World Cup. They're in that transition period again where they don't mind giving up a big international tournament to for in the next 4 years in the next World Cup they'll be unstoppable again when they're bringing in all those young players. Um, you got Gabby, you've got
Pedri,
Pedri, um,
Pinto, Jeremy Pinto.
Pinto. Yeah, there's lots of very good young Spain players coming through, and they've still got that bit about them as well in terms of they've got that the older generation as well still there as well. Um, but for me, if there was an underdog for the World Cup, that would be mine. Would be Spain.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good shot.
So moving on, your top goal scorer for the World Cup. Who do you think is going to be banging in the goals?
I think it's going to be between two. I think it's going to be, the very, very prolific Kylian Mbappe. Could
Mhm.
be a tournament that he just decides to blow everything away and score for fun like we know he can. Or
That's
I
right.
think it'll be Messi, as, I think he'll go on and not carry that Argentina team because they have a very good side, but I think he's going to score a bag load of goals, especially with the group that he's in. It's not a very strong group. Saudi Arabia, Mexico. I think they're two teams that they'll just be walked over.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with your reasons behind those picks. For me, I'm going to go for one that's kind of an outsider, but for me, yeah, for me is Vinny Jr.
Mm.
For me, Vinny Jr. I think he was electric for Real Madrid last season. The reason that they won the Champions League. I think he's also very good for Brazil. I was about to say Spain then. But yeah, for me, Vinny Jr. I think will be one to definitely watch at the World Cup, and I think he will score a lot of goals for Brazil.
Yeah, definitely not a bad show at all.
No. So moving on, the worst team at the World Cup. Who do you think's gonna get completely destroyed in the group, score no goals, and just be laughed out of the World Cup and head home?
I don't think this is going to come to surprise of anybody. I'm going with Qatar.
Yes.
I think that like they're a team that are only there because they're hosting the World Cup.
Hmm.
Another team, well, to be fair, two teams that could equally go the same route are Iran and Saudi Arabia. Both very, very, you know, lackluster teams. I think Iran's the only player that you've really got in Iran is that Porto striker, Taremi, I think his name is.
Amy, yeah.
But other than that, just them three sides are just like fodder to fill in teams.
Fodder.
They are just fodder. The fillers. They make the numbers. That's it. Yeah.
Oh my god, they're tifos.
Yeah. Tifos. The 86 rated players at the end of a FIFA cycle.
Yeah, well, I have to completely agree with you. That's it, same for me. Saudi Arabia and Qatar, I think they're going to really, really struggle. I think for me, if Qatar or Saudi Arabia score a goal at this World Cup, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is for me. I think if they score a goal, not even get a point, but score a goal at the World Cup, I will be impressed.
Yeah.
I think everyone will probably agree with us there. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
I don't think that's going to leave a shock in anyone's minds that we've picked Qatar to be the worst performing team at a
No,
World Cup.
I don't think so. So moving on to question 5, our beloved home country England. What do you think their chances are at this World Cup?
The chances of winning it, I think, is slim to none. I tell you, it'll be like the scene in Infinity War where Doctor Strange looks into the future and it's like, oh yeah, 1 in 17 million or whether. That'll be us if we stand a chance of winning this World Cup. Uh, I'm gonna go being generous quarterfinals. I do think we bow out at the round of 16, depending on where we finish. If we finish top, round of 16. If we finish second, quarterfinals. But I don't see us getting further than that.
So in terms of winning the World Cup, I'd say I'd give us a 10% chance of winning the World Cup, just simply because we do have some quality in our side. Just the question mark, as it always is and always will be, is the defence.
And the
It's
manager.
and the manager, yeah. But it's gonna cost us. I mean, right from the moment that squad was announced, people already were just writing off England because of the decisions he made. No Tamori, no Tammy. He's taken Harry Maguire. He's still taking Pickford.
Taking Connor Cody, I think, is a outrageous shout considering how bad Everton have been this season.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there as well. I mean, for me, I think the best we can hope for, as you said, is I think we will. I think we will make the quarterfinals a minimum, but I don't think we will make it past that unless we get blessed with a draw.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I think Southgate doesn't know his best 11. He doesn't know his best players. For me, if I was him, I think there should be no doubt in his mind that Declan Rice should play next to Jude Bellingham, and then Foden should be in front of them, because you'll have Rice that does the sitting job. I mean, Jude Bellingham can flex his muscles, and Foden can play in a position which he's comfortable with and can be the most explosive, other than left wing like he does for City. But the difference is with City in England is England don't keep the ball as well as City does. So putting him out on left wing would probably be a bit of a waste. You want him in the middle where he can affect the game, pick up the ball in those key areas, and look to release like the likes of your Harry Kanes. Um, I even think Marcus Rashford could be very good for England in this World Cup. I don't know why.
I
I
didn't
just
even
think
know he was going.
you know
No.
Well, I think he could be a player, but I also think Bukayo Saka as well. I think he's been electric for Arsenal.
Mm.
He's one of the reasons that they've done so well. And I was one of the biggest Saka haters. I mean, I thought he was very good in the Euros. He was one of the reasons why we did so well. But then club football, I didn't rate Saka whatsoever. I thought he was weak. I thought he was a one-trick pony, and everyone kept saying to me, "No, no, Saka's great. Saka's great." And then this season, I've put my hands up. He's been electric,
Yeah.
and I think he will carry that form into England. And also as well with players like the players that aren't doing well club wise, like for example Declan Rice, world class player for me. Obviously, I'm a West Ham fan, a bit biased here, but I do believe he is world class, and I say that even if he wasn't at West Ham. But I think he'll also have a point to prove with obviously how bad West Ham have been, of course.
Another one who's
Um,
got a point to prove is Trent.
yes, massive.
Obviously, with Kyle Walker. No, Kyle Walker's going, isn't he? It's
Yeah, Carl
recent.
Walker's going, but he's still injured, so there's not a guarantee he's even going to play in the World Cup.
I think if you
But
put it all depends because they say Trent can't play in a five back, which is false. He can play in a five back. It's very clear. A five back would probably suit him better than a four.
I generally believe if Carl Walker is fit, he'll probably play centre back in
Yeah,
a five rather than, and they'll probably leave room for Trent. But there's also Trippier as well. He's been fantastic for Newcastle.
he's also got the luxury that he can play off the left.
Yes, he can. You're right. You're right. And to be honest, I don't really rate our left backs whatsoever.
So who
So
is it? Luke Shaw and
Chilwell, isn't it?
Is Chilwell gone? I think Chilwell's gone.
I think Chilwell went.
The
Could be
the
wrong.
biggest news for England though is Madder's gone. Is Madder's fit? Because I know he limped off the other night for Leicester.
Yeah, in his final game, that was against West Ham. He came off after 25 minutes, but apparently
It was a
he came.
precaution.
Yeah, he came out and said he's fine. He was just
Yeah.
precautionary.
It would be heartbreaking for him not to go because I think out of any midfielder that should be going, he deserves it the most.
Oh yeah, he made the biggest point in
Mm.
the recent fixtures. I mean, he's clawed Leicester back into away from that relegation
Yeah,
zone.
massively.
So, and the same with Callum Wilson as well. But the
Mm.
question is, again with strikers though, I mean, you've got Harry Kane and you play one up top, and he never plays two up top. So is Wilson just going to sit on the bench all tournament?
Probably,
Most
yeah.
likely.
Yeah.
Most likely.
I don't know why he doesn't drop one of them strikers to take another midfielder, personally.
Yeah, well, if he's not going to play two strikers, for me though, I'd love to actually see one game, like even that first game, Southgate shocks everyone. He plays Wilson with Kane, like that would
Goes
shock
up,
everyone.
goes up Brexit 4-4-2.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? just goes Brexit ball. But
Yeah.
moving on, the question number 6: who do you think will be the best player at this World Cup?
I'm probably just going to follow along the same line as top goal scorer. I'm going to go Messi. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm hearing a lot of Messi.
yeah, I am a big Messi fan. Other than Messi, though, thinking about like looking at the different teams, I think Valverde could be in with an outside show if he can be as good as he is at club football and how good he's been this season.
Oh yeah, he's one of those where when he gets the ball, you can't take your eyes off him.
Yeah, I think he could be in with an outside show of best player. Definitely. If Uruguay do well, obviously it all comes down to they actually can get out the groups and win games.
Yeah,
But it
of course.
wouldn't shock me to see a Valverde pop up as player of the tournament.
So mine is going to be, I'd say, a little bit of an outsider. I mean, when you look at the odds of best player at the World Cup, this guy he's not even in the top 20, which is actually mind blowing for me. But is the Ballon d'Or winner, Karim Benzema.
Mm.
I think, one, he's been electric for Real Madrid. I mean, he won the Ballon d'Or. There's a reason you win the Ballon d'Or. You are the best player in the world at that time. Um, and I think he's just got a point to prove. I mean, you look back at the last World Cup, he got sent home because he had a fallout with Deschamps, and he wasn't even involved in France winning the World Cup.
Just told he wasn't good enough.
And that was when Giroud had to step up, and fair play to Olivier Giroud, he did. Um,
He
but yeah, for
surprises
me,
me every time he goes onto a football pitch. He really does.
he is one of the most underrated footballers in the world, Olivier Giroud. Like, that guy is just insane. There's nothing he can't do, and he makes everyone around him look better as well.
I
Like, I
remember
remember,
saying, sorry, I remember seeing a video, and it was like these lads talking about Giroud. It's like, how can you show like your kids a video of like Giroud's goals and then convince them that he wasn't the best player in the world?
literally, yeah.
Like he scored some fucking outrageous stuff for club and
Honestly,
country.
honestly, I remember the after the 2018 World Cup, and Kylian Mbappe, who was one of the best players in the world, literally came out and said that he would not be the player he is for France without Giroud. He said he'd rather play next to Giroud than Neymar. Like, that just shows how good Olivier Giroud is. Such a good team player,
Yeah,
and he's
massively.
just so underrated. But moving on, question number 7: who makes the final for you? If you could have your dream final, what would it be?
I imagine this will come to no surprise. And I imagine this will be similar to a lot of World Cup watchers.
Yeah,
Argentina Brazil would be
yeah, I thought that was coming.
my dream final.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, there's kind of a no-brainer, that one,
It
isn't
would
it?
be such a spectacle. It would be Messi versus Neymar. Both teams haven't won the World Cup in a long time. I think it would. It will be a chance for redemption for Neymar with the Copa America.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
Brazil Argentina final. Then could we get another Brazil Argentina final? And I think they'll be looking at the climate we're playing in Qatar, how hot it's going to be. They'll be the two best teams to cope with that sort of heat.
Oh,
They'll,
absolutely.
there'll be
Um,
no shock to they'll be able to play in that heat, no problem.
yeah, that's why the South American teams are all high favourites, not just because of that, but is a main reason because the European teams, some of them are really going to struggle in
Mm.
the conditions. Um, But I totally understand your reasoning behind that. For me, though, if I had to choose a dream final, I'd actually go with Brazil versus France. I think, in terms of the two squads, I think that would be the most exciting World Cup final for me. Even though, obviously, you're removing Messi from the equation, and
Yeah,
like when Messi plays, it's an amazing thing to watch. But for me, if you had Neymar versus Mbappe, the two players at PSG that have been locking horns,
yeah, I'd say
even though they play well together, and they seem to have like one thing can happen at PSG, and Neymar will come out and say he hates playing with Mbappe if he didn't square the ball to him after one game. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think they're friends, but they're also rivals at the same time.
Mm.
And I think those two locking horns in a World Cup final would be just insane.
I think another final that people want is Argentina Portugal because it's the spectacle of Messi versus Ronaldo both
Yeah,
fighting for the one trophy that both not got yet.
But for me, I genuinely
Yeah,
as much.
France Brazil would be an unbelievable final.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But for me, you're saying about Argentina, Portugal, although it would be an incredible final, Ronaldo versus Messi. I mean, the whole world would watch that
Oh,
World
it would
Cup
be the
final.
most watched sporting event in in world history. It'll
Oh,
trump
100%.
whatever the most watched thing is.
Yeah,
It
no,
it
I
would be
agree.
that final.
I agree, but I just don't see a world in where that happens.
Oh, I don't either. Especially the everything that's gone on recently surrounding Ronaldo. You know, Manchester United want to terminate his contract. Manchester United want to sue him. His
Yep.
teammates think he's less than favourable at the minute. And
There's a
obviously,
reason.
there's
There's a
two.
reason Ronaldo did it though. He
Mm,
did it because he wanted all eyes on him at the World Cup. He was smart about it. He could have released that or done that interview with Piers Morgan any time, but he chose to do it right before the World Cup when all
mm,
eyes will be on him. And that's exactly what Ronaldo wants. He thrives on that pressure.
mm. But we
But
shall move on to the
we
last
shall.
question.
It is the last question. So, the biggest shock of the World Cup, and what I mean by that is the most underperforming country in terms of a top country not performing to their ability.
It may come to a shock to some. I'm going Germany.
Oh, the Germans. Okay.
I believe that their group is, it's a very, very tough group. You've Spain, who were going to want to right the wrongs of the last World Cup. I believe didn't get out of the groups of the last World Cup. Japan have notoriously always been a team the Germans struggle against, and I think that second and third spot are so interchangeable that it literally could be any one of them that fill it, other than maybe Spain, who I think will probably go through.
I'll totally get that.
I
Totally.
think, and
I
plus,
get your reasons behind that.
I think the Germans' defense has weakened so much over the last couple of years.
Oh, definitely. All their big name
I
players
think,
have either retired or just faded off now.
yeah, I think you look at the defense they're taking, and they've got Musiala, and not Musiala, he's not a defender. Schlotterbeck, and then honestly, I can't name another centre back other than maybe Hummels, and I don't even know if he's going.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. For me, the biggest shock of the World Cup and the most underperforming country for me, it will come as a big surprise, especially the way we've been talking about them. But for me, would actually be Argentina. I generally believe I see a world where Argentina don't make it out of the group stages, and I'll give you my reasons why. So, one, the last time Argentina played in the World Cup was obviously 2018, and they just looked like if Messi doesn't do something, they're going to struggle.
Mm.
Like they were 0-0 against, I believe, Tunisia or someone like that in to the 85th minute when Messi comes out of nowhere with a 25-yard free kick. Like I know Messi is Messi, but this guy's still human, and he's obviously aged. He can't do everything. He's going to need those players around him to step up. Um, but I do obviously this is a 1 in a million thing
Yeah,
that obviously Argentina don't even make it out of the groups. But for me, not even just make it out of the groups. I think if Argentina say get knocked out in the round of 16, that would be a surprise to me as well.
yeah.
Uh, and that would be underperforming for me from Argentina's standpoint. Not just not making it out of the groups, but I do see a world where that does happen.
I can say it. Like I say, it'll be
Yeah.
a complete 1 in a million chance, but
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
it all depends which Argentina turn up. If it's going to be the Argentina that got
Yeah.
to the
And as I
Copa
say,
America, or the Argentina that slumped against um, France last year, or
yeah,
not last year,
exactly.
last World Cup.
Exactly, and for me, it all depends, like I said, on if the players around Messi can help him and perform. That's what he needs, because you know what Messi's going to do. Messi's Messi. You
Yeah,
put him 1-on-1 and goal, he's going to score. Like it's butter in your bread sort of thing. But it's one of those things where we shall see what happens. The World Cup kicks off in 2 days' time. Those are all our questions, guys. So that is going to do it from us.
indeed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you did enjoy it, guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your answers to the questions that we've put forward and been answering. Who do you think is going to win the World Cup? England's chances. I mean, lots of people are going to be agreeing with us, maybe even disagreeing with us, thinking, oh no, England are definitely going to win the World Cup. We shall see.
We shall.
But that is going to do it from us, guys, and we shall catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Peace.